Good afternoon and salutations to everybody. Hopefully, everybody that can hear me is having a great day. Welcome to the other side of the ball, show 139. We are going to have some fun talking today. We're going to see what is going on and talk a little bit of this championship game with y'all and see what kind of questions we have coming up. I've got Mr. Live with 25 on the show with me right now, and I've got Dub in the background. So as soon as they can join us, they will. Knox, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Working on it. Whatever it is. How about yourself?
Oh, doing the same, man. Doing the same. Just trying to work through everything and make everything work. You know how it all goes.
Yeah, sounds about right. Sounds like everyday life.
Yeah, you ain't kidding, man. You are not kidding. It's just the way it is, isn't it? So,
What'd you say?
what's that?
Oh no, I didn't hear you.
Oh, I just said that. Yeah, that's the way it goes. It just seems to be life.
Hell yeah.
You know, life is always what it is, bro. You can't do a whole lot with it. Can't do a whole lot without it. And
Yeah.
what's up, Mr. Daniels? How are you? And hopefully everything's good, and hopefully you're feeling better, brother.
Yes, sir.
So,
Oh, I didn't even
you know,
realize I ain't have my camera on. Oh, there we go.
well, I thought you because I saw you come on with it on, and I thought you switched it off, so I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to let it go.
Oh yeah. You know me.
Oh yeah, man. It is what it is, man. We're just out here, talking a little spit, and I figured that we could do that and have a little fun with it, and then we'll get into the our thoughts on the championship game in a little bit. But I wanted to talk. I was hoping that we'd have a couple of people on. I've been busy with work and some other stuff. I've been trying to get myself to I don't know, get myself back to zero, if you will. With everything that you try to do throughout the week and the weekend. And you know what? Let me ask you, how's Father's Day? Knox, how was Father's Day, man?
A normal day.
Nothing major, huh?
Yeah, man. Bunch of bullshit, but whatever. It is what it is.
Just a regular everyday Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah, I know that feeling, man. I know that feeling well, man. It seems to be the ongoing thing. We were wanting to get out of the heat, so I was actually up in Utah, trying to stay out of the 100 and felt like 130 degrees here in Vegas. It was only 90 up there, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, that's
But of
dope.
course, that also meant that you had to bring in your own alcohol because they don't play up in Utah. You can't get a whole lot of stuff up there, so it is what it is. You know how it goes. Um, but for tonight, and I'm just trying to think about all the stuff that we have going on. And I know the guys are going to leave on Friday for the championship game back east. Um, my daughter's birthday is coming up, so we've got this weekend and next weekend kind of booked. Otherwise, I'd be making that same trip. Um, and Zelly, no, I wasn't up in Salt Lake, man. I was up in Marysville. We were staying at some cabins and did some traveling up in the mountains side by side, having some fun. So, yeah, I was nowhere near Salt Lake. Well, I shouldn't say that. We're a lot closer to Salt Lake on over the weekend than I am right now. So, you're not too far wrong with that one. But we've got the ship coming up. We've got some other stuff coming up that we got to talk about. Off season, what that's going to look like. Um, And I think the bigger thing about this that we got to talk about too when we're sitting here thinking about it is, you know, I know it'll be a little bit more clear during the off season what we think might happen with some of these teams, especially here in the Vegas division. But Knox, you're on mute in case you're going to talk, so just giving you a heads up. But nonetheless, man. So I'm gonna jump into something. I don't want us to give, we'll wait until later and give our predictions for the championship game. But what I wanted to kind of take a look at is, what are your thoughts going into this championship game, knowing what BIC brought out here and what is potential for the Insomniacs to see traveling back east?
I mean, personally, I was one of the ones that said with BIC coming out here, they brought what they needed to and what they felt like they can get the job done with, regardless of who they were playing. You feel me? They brought who they thought that they could, like I said, get the job done. Now, of course, anybody can tell you just like whatever, when it's back at home, everybody's going to be there, right? But in a sense, you feel me? Everybody was there the last time these two teams matched up. You feel me? So it really just comes down to the style of play and what's actually changed. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, agree 100%. Now, the thing that I think has changed in my eyes, and this is just me speaking, I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody but myself.
Yeah.
When I look at a couple of things, I'll look at what Bagway brings to this team. You put yourself on mute again. Say that again. Oh, I just said I was thinking about what Bagway brings to BIC as far as the defense is concerned, what he potentially brings to them as a second quarterback behind Sperry. I also thought about, are they truly going to get their big offensive lineman back? What are we really looking at is what I'm going off of. And I agree with you 100%. BIC brought what they thought they needed to win coming to Vegas, but I think they're going to have everybody and their brother back on that squad for the championship game. They talk about how they want to go up against the Insomniacs again because they got a payback. But when I look at the two teams, I saw in BIC and what I've seen all season was a team that played a lot of the teams that they played that were in the top 4, top 5 back east. They played them close.
I mean,
right?
In my opinion, we've had the conversation and we've all been asked the question, right? As far as what team looks better, what team look like they've has transformed in a sense, or you know what I'm saying? What teams have gotten better? And again, no knock to BIC, but I don't personally think because you add 2 players that makes your team better. You feel me?
Yeah.
Again, looking at the Insomniacs, when you look at the Insomniacs, you see a brotherhood, you see togetherness, you see everybody's will to want to win. You know what I'm saying? You don't really see no individuals. Like I've said before, they have people who speak for them, who are considered the face, but in a sense, they're still together. You feel me? There's no individual speaking. There's no talking about one player without talking about the whole team. You feel me? Or even just the fact of from last year, you were talking about this player, this player, this player, but this year they brought on new players. So we're not even talking about the players that we were talking about last year. We're talking about the up and coming new players that have become stars. You feel me?
Yeah.
And something.
And you're talking about for the Insomniacs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I think about it, I think about what we have seen with, with Prime coming out and playing the way he's been playing. I think about what they've been doing with Carswell, with the way he's been playing. And you think about some of the guys that they have on that squad that weren't there last season. And I think in my mind, when I take a step back and look at the two teams now, Russell Stanley is saying if BIC's got a full squad, they win. I don't know that I agree with that, because what I've seen from BIC is them take a little bit of a step back from the team they were last season. And it's not a disrespectful thing at all. I'm just going off the eye test. What I've seen with the Insomniacs is them actually take a step up with their play and with their squad. So I don't necessarily agree with the assumption he's making, but I don't know that, because I mean, when I think about it, and follow me on this for just a sec, they had Bagway when they played the Animals and played them to a tight game. So that's something to think about. And I think about what happened with the Animals. The Animals are a damn good team, man. I really think that Tender is a feature of this league, with no disrespect to anybody. But I just saw a Insomniac squad that stopped messing around and said, okay, it's time to put on business, and threw up 60 on them. So
I mean, it's the way that I look at it is like Zelly just said. They played the Renegades. It was a close game. They've had a lot of close games with the competition that they see every week. You feel me? And it's I don't necessarily see any real systems being ran. I don't see any real play calling. You don't really see, and maybe that's just me. You feel me? Now, granted, being on both sidelines a couple Sundays ago and being able to be on their sideline to hear certain shit, they do call plays, right? But in a sense, you really wouldn't know that those were play calls that were actually called. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to when you watch the Insomniacs, they're running different schemes. They're running different, different play styles. You know what I mean? To where they're making you really have to guess. Even when the Animals D line, they was in a sense kind of getting to school. They adjusted. You feel me? So it's like you want to see shit like that. Like I said, no knock to them at all. It's just when you speak on playing football with like I said, a legit team, and having those play calls, having those schemes, having different guys that you can go to all the way down to the third string and still be able to pull out a dub. You're seeing them put all the starters in and having to play the whole game.
And I agree with that. I think that in most situations when we're talking about, brass tacks when it comes to playing football and play calling, the thing that I see that's a little bit different, stands out in my mind, is when you have a play called with the Insomniacs, maybe even a play you haven't seen before. Everybody knows their assignment, and they make that assignment look easy, right? I saw a lot of with BIC. I saw a lot of what I would consider plays that didn't quite look right, but they were able to make them. They were able to pull them off, and that's fine. But all I'm saying is, when you come up against a team that has as many coaches on it as the Insomniacs and can make adjustments on the fly like they can, there's not going to be a whole lot you're going to see or they haven't seen before that they won't make the adjustments to. And it's just one of those situations where, my biggest concern with BIC last year was the return capability that they had with Pack. Trust me when I say I'm not sleeping on Worthy. I think he's one of the better one of the best wide receivers in our league. I'm not sleeping on him. But what I am saying is, I don't think that their return game is quite as high as it was with Pack. I mean, I could be wrong. I've watched the games, but I did not see the return the way it was with him in their on their squad. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I would have to disagree in a sense. Granted, yeah, Pac-Man was amazing. You feel me? But that you can't necessarily take away from Worthy, because whether he gets you 30 or 40, he's a threat alone because of how shifty he is. He's a threat alone because of how fast he is. You feel me? So it's like even just to get to a team with great field position is amazing. You feel me? Because I've said it myself in the beginning of this like season or whatever. You feel me? Everybody's 3-on-1 in the sense has gotten a suspect to where the returner is gonna get you a good solid 30 or 40 just because of who and how the ball's being thrown. You know what I'm saying? You're
Yeah.
giving them a chance to get into that second gear to guess which person, you feel me, he might want to hit first. Like that shit makes a difference. So, but I would say with the field being shorter, it might not really be an issue for anybody when it comes to these returns.
Yeah, I just don't know. I saw that too, and I just don't know how much shorter the field is. I didn't see them, and I didn't dig into it. So if you saw that,
Somebody
do you
said
know
70.
how?
Somebody said 75 yards. So that's a whole 25 yards gone.
Whew, that is a that's going to be way different for sure.
I could throw that shit 70 yards.
Yeah. So I mean, the return game might even be a situation where it
It's gonna
is
be a
no
lot of back.
longer.
It's gonna be a lot of out the back of the end zone or touchbacks. Nobody's gonna
Yeah,
take the chance of really trying to return that shit unless they're trying to make a statement. You feel me? Then that's different. If you actually, you know what I'm saying, give a motherfucker an opportunity to return it. But come on now, that's
I think we're going
bullshit.
to wind up with very few returns in this championship game. I think
Yeah.
the 25 yards is a huge piece, and I also saw that they'd be throwing from the 15 now instead. Well, you know what? Some
Man,
of
should
these
be
guys
throwing
can
from the
still chuck that
five.
damn ball out the back of the end zone.
Should be throwing from the five.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I'll say that, and not to mention the fact if you have a lot of these guys, because
Or end zone to
the
end
three on
zone. You
one,
feel me?
the 3-on-1 gives a lot of people good position, field position. Without that 3-on-1, it's going to really is going to change a lot of perspectives, and it's going to make the two teams possibly have to really work their way down the field. Now, we've seen the fact that the Insomniacs can hit you from anywhere on the field. Now, I'm not going to say they can't do that along with BIC, but all I'm saying is that it's going to make it for a very interesting game, knowing that the field is that much shorter.
I mean, I
Kind of
think
weird too.
BIC, like I said, we talk about, or at least in my opinion, we talk about the Insomniacs, right? Cool. Don't ever want to seem like we're boosting them up and there's no real competition that's about to go down, right? Okay, so again, I take a little time to speak highly on BIC, right? They have an amazing D line, or they have a D line that can potentially get some pressure. With the pressure that was able to be applied in certain ways, you feel me? They were, in a sense, able to stop the run. The Insomniacs have definitely had a solid run game for shit since the season started, with the O lineman being able to block up and down field and hold blocks. You feel me? The running backs, RTC, Juice, Bowling Ball, being able to bounce out and being able to, hit those certain gaps. Amazing. There were a few times where the animals was able to send pressure to where they were able to disturb that shit. Uh, BIC did it in the championship last year or whatever, but ultimately, of course, both sides were still able to get their yards while running the ball. My big thing I would want to see more from their offense. I want to see more plays. I know they got a lot of athletes on their offense. Oh damn, I didn't know that. Okay. I know they got a lot of athletes and shit on their offense that's able to make plays. You know what I'm saying? But I would want to see more explosiveness, more, you feel me? Again, plays that's actually drawn up to get motherfuckers open and not people just running routes because that's what they're getting told to do in the huddle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh,
Wait, who
they
is
they got
Draco?
a they got a solid squad.
Wilkerson.
Yeah, I didn't
Oh,
know
okay.
that.
I didn't know he was out for this game.
Me neither.
What's
They're
it
fun
say?
to watch,
Fractured
though.
fibula from animals?
Oh, damn.
Didn't know that either.
Yeah,
Big
that's
yikes.
wild.
Well, breaking
Okay.
news, folks.
I was
Breaking
just going to
news.
say that. I did not know that.
Well, Knox,
I don't
as you
think
just
anybody
said,
had any idea.
but as you said, Knox, they still have two capable running backs. And then not also the way they have utilized JJ in the run game this year. He's been added as another possible dynamic in that offense. So I mean, the cupboard
Nah, 100%.
has never been bare when it comes to these pack of wolves. Like I said, I mean, you've talked about it in verbatim, but I mean, we go back to 2 weeks ago. It was really the new blood that Innocents carried them to a win, i.e., William Coswell, i.e., Shannon Allen.
Prime.
With the things they done. Then, of course, Moses Smith on the defensive side of the ball. So, as I often said, depth will be tested when it comes to these two teams because obviously we know the Insomniacs travel very well. So I have no doubt in my mind, Wilkerson or no Wilkerson, most of their squad will be, if not all of their squad will be there. So depth won't be an issue. But again, the game is indoors this time, not outdoors. The field is shortened. But again,
That's so stupid. They so cheap out there. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why not just get some regular fields, cater to, like, that sounds like, who? That's
What I want to
crazy.
know is who plays on a 75-yard field?
Like, when have any game this season or any season been from 75? Like, that's crazy.
It very much is. I mean, you're 25 yards longer than a playing in a indoor arena.
That's crazy.
and that's a 50 yards when it comes to arena.
Yeah. Well, when you put in the factor in the two end zones, it's 70 yards, but still, I mean, you're talking about such a 25 yards doesn't sound like much when you start to hear, when you first hear it, but when you get out there, it does. I mean, the field does show how small it truly is.
But why though? Like, what is the reason? Has there been a reason? What's the reason?
I have no idea. I know that was just where they chose to play, and it's a little weird to me. But and I hate to say it, but look, man, I play golf, and no, Top Golf is actually I could use a friggin' putter and hit 75 yards. That's a short ass field.
So let me ask this question: Is there a reason why it's not being played in Asbury?
It's a driving range. It's a golf course.
No, he's saying it's a Top Golf field, like because Top Golf is
so
short.
Hold on. So you saying what the fuck?
No, it ain't. Don't pay attention to that. He hasn't seen that. It's not a actual Top Golf field that they're playing on. But because Top Golf is a lot longer, I played Top Golf out here and in other states. They are way longer than 75 yards. It's funny that he says that, but they are way longer than 75 yards. My drives are 270 plus. I did a 315 in a long drive contest, and I've hit the ball outside of the net at the Top Golf in Arizona. So I know that it's much longer than that. Well, if it can be set up like a Top Golf in a driving range, but from my understanding from talking to Ryan DePaul, it is a indoor field with seating, so more like a stadium. So I don't know that I can back you up on what you heard Matt Ryan say. I don't know that I'm 100% on that. But nonetheless, look, people are going to find out come Friday night.
That's crazy.
Or sorry, Saturday night. My bad.
So like in y'all's opinion, do you think that changes does that change things?
The shortness of the field. The only thing that it changes in my eyes is how long teams have to go to get a touchdown. That's about it. Outside of that, the only other thing that it changes in my mind is the throw off. That's it.
What's the old cliche? Football is still football.
Yep.
Football is still football.
Yep.
That's real shit though.
Still 10
That's
yards for a
crazy.
first down.
That's wild. That's what's up.
So I mean, it is what it is, bro. We're out here doing it. They're going to be out there doing their thing. Now, would I have preferred to see that here in Vegas? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I would have preferred to see the championship here instead of back east twice in back-to-back seasons. But at the same time, it is what it is. Change the things you can.
It's cheaper
right?
to send. Look, it would have been cheaper to send. They did it already. Or didn't they make them pay for themselves, or did somebody pay for their flights and shit?
I
Talking
that I don't
about
know.
the
Either
East
way,
players?
it would have been cheaper. It would have been cheaper to come, huh? Yeah,
Talking
when
about the
they
East
came out
players?
here.
I heard that
Yeah.
they paid for their own fare.
Never mind. I was finna say, well, shit, they could at least, you feel me? It's cheaper to send one team. They got the ducats over there.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, what we should have done was, in my eyes, so that way you didn't have back-to-back games back east. I think what they should have done was found a place maybe a little bit more central, and in a area where you didn't have a home field advantage, if you will, from either side.
Tejas.
What's
Put 'em on
that?
high
That
school-
would've
Put
been
them on a high
sense.
school field in Texas. Put them right smack dab in the middle.
There you go.
Well,
That would have worked for me.
Yeah, be a true neutral site game.
Yeah. True neutral site game. See how things go. Of course, you want to play it up to the team, to the people in the area, so that way they come and check it out,
Yeah, promote the heck
just
out
like
of
we
that.
did in Bullhead.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think that would have been a good play. And matter of fact, I would have even said, look, if that's the case, I'm not saying it was open. I can't sit here and tell you that because I don't know. I wasn't on a committee or anything to bring it back here to Vegas. But hell, I would have even taken playing out at in Boulders, or excuse me, playing out at the field house
Bullhead.
again. Yeah, Bullhead would have been fun. I'd have taken my happy butt down there, went down for a couple of days, and did what we did before.
Very nice facility.
Yep. So, I mean, it is what it is. I think that, Dub, I think you said it, and I agree with you. The Insomniacs travel well, and I think that they'll have their full company of players that are going to be ready to play. And I think that BIC is going to do what they do. And I'm sure that they'll have their players that they pick up. Whether they claim they were on the roster or not, they'll still have the players that they pick up. It is what it is.
Zilly says push it back to next weekend. Why you want to push back to the 29th, Zelly?
Yeah, why do you want to push it back to the 29th? What are we missing here? I'll wait for your answer. Nonetheless. So overall, go ahead, Dub.
But one thing we do know, somebody's O will become a 1. So Zelly, you won't be at the game. You won't be at the game either.
Doesn't sound like it. If he won't be back from Alaska.
Alaska.
Come on, brother. You knew when you were playing. Oh no! Did you see the next one?
Yes.
Tells you
yes.
everything. Baby sister getting married.
That's one reason to miss a game. I get it.
Oh, you should have told her to push the wedding back. I'm kidding.
Well, congratulations to your baby sis. And his
Very
mother.
much so.
But one thing we do know, he tried. But one thing that is for certain, hello, Mr. Perneda of Jaffos TV. But one thing I can say is somebody's boat will indeed go this upcoming weekend, as one team will get their first loss of the year, but unfortunately it will come at the most worst time, and that is the championship game, which again, tickets are on sale. Please go to a7fl.com/championship. Again, that's a7fl.com/championship to get your tickets. And the question being asked for Zelly, so who's not playing for the Insomniacs? Scooter, Zelly. We just learned that Anthony Wilkerson will not be playing for the Insomniacs.
And Zelly won't be playing because he won't be there. But Scooter, as far as I know, is playing because I saw him going back and forth with Derek on tickets to fly out.
No. Well, unless he has no legs, I would think Scooter would try to find a way to play. Right.
And I also think Mr. Rivas will be back, so he should be playing. And I have heard
Mr. Reeves coming back from the cruise. He'll be well rested.
I don't know that Scooter played with a slip disc. I have no idea.
Oh shit!
Or if he's playing with a slip disc, I don't know. So look, we can say what we know, and all I can tell you is that RTC said he ain't playing, and Zelly is going to be gone. So those are the only two Insomniacs that I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt. Everybody else that I know of is playing.
But again, and I have said this many of times, we have seen the Insomniacs with their B or C squad, and they still put up 40-plus points. So,
man, you're not wrong.
With this team, JP, you never know. Because how many times Wilkerson has said some stuff and he's out there playing. Now, I don't doubt he's not joking around when he's talking about his injury, but, you know.
Yeah, that's wild.
They like to troll and keep things close to the vest and not reveal stuff and then just kind of surprise you, and that's what makes them them.
Are we forgetting that before the season started, we had, 4 or 5 of the Insomniacs players with actually a couple of Insomniacs players and a couple of guys from Sick With It that posted on Facebook with the stealth. Mm-hmm. Remember that? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you don't know, man. Until they get out there, you can't, we don't know what's going to happen.
JP, I'm not putting anything against these pack of wolves. I have seen it too much. They know how to prepare. They know how to make adjustments. They know how to implement and put in the right pieces. Doesn't matter who they're playing. Even if that is the Trenton BIC, and that's no disrespect to the Trenton BIC because we know how good they are. But I trust this coaching staff. Until they lose a game with the money on the line, I'm not going to bet against these guys. I'm just not. And that's just one man's respectful opinion on it.
Well, look, rumor mills are always going to be rumor mills. We had a bunch of them going off in the off season. I think out of all the ones that I heard, maybe 1 or 2 came to fruition. That was it. Everything else was pretty much just BS and people saying things. I don't know what's going to happen. If you want to know what's going to happen and who's going to be doing what, all I could say is tune in on Sunday. Watch the game. See who's out there, who's playing, who isn't playing. We don't have, the thing about it with this league is nobody is made to put a injury report together and give that up. So I don't know what to tell you. All we can do is tell you what we know. We heard literally minutes ago that you know, RTC isn't going to be playing because of a broken leg, and that Mr. Daniels won't be playing because he's going to a wedding. Outside of that, I can't tell you a damn thing else. All I know is that, and Josh, you asked about Scoot. All I could tell you is that in the middle of something he was talking about on the Insomniacs page with Derek, he was booking his flight. So unless he's planning on flying out there with a slip disc and not playing, I don't know what to say. He doesn't make a mention of that whatsoever.
Even if he doesn't play, he is still going to be out there coaching those boys up regardless.
Yeah.
I mean, we know what happened last year. Man broke his hand, became Innocence, the fourth blocker, and they pretty much ran the Wildcat. So, I mean, like I said, they are the kings at making in-game mid-drive adjustments. I wouldn't expect anything less from them in this game upcoming Sunday, to where throw-off begins at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Please check your listings for what station to go to, and also check A7FL.com.
Well, I will be stuck in front of my TV making sure that I watch this, for
As
sure.
will I.
I was invited to make the travel. I can't. I've got 2 weekends of my daughter's becoming a teenager, her birthday. So if I was to leave this weekend, I'm sure that I would. I probably wouldn't hear the end of it, and I ain't trying to do that. Happy wife, happy life. I ain't trying to do any of that. I'm gonna try to make sure that my family's happy.
There's some L's you just have to take.
Yeah.
And I'll gladly take this one with a smile on my face, because that way I'm not going to get in trouble.
I'm not married or with anybody by the slightest means, but I know when to take an L.
Mm-hmm. And I am going to do exactly that, because I really don't want to come home to a pissed off wife.
Smart man.
I don't know who Three Musketeers is. Does anybody know?
No, but apparently Three Musketeers is a big stealth fan, looks like.
Well, but he's saying Scooter going out there.
We do not know where the Hammond of Corey is at.
I have no idea.
Perhaps being down to a starting five.
Well, he was supposed to be on last week with us, and he said he was on his way home, and Knox and I were on the call. Corey Price joined us. Hammond never did. So don't know where he's at, but nonetheless, I'm sure that he'll be calling the championship game. We'll all hear about it.
And the Coreyisms.
And what?
The Coreyisms.
Oh yeah. Well, come on. That's a given. Everybody knows that goes along with the situation is the Coreyisms. Knox is already giggling. He knows. He knows what's up.
I like Corey though. He's a good seller. You feel me? He can sell you a fight. He would definitely sell this game. You feel me?
He's a good salesman, no question. A very good salesman.
Yeah, 100%. He comes with great energy. Sometimes you got to feel it, but then sometimes it's like, all right, bro, I get it. You know?
Well, I'll be the first one to admit I sell for a living, but I also know when to take that cap off and just relax.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I like listening to him sometimes.
Here you go, right here. Here you go.
Talking some good shit. He be talking some good shit.
From Coach Brown, there you go.
But Coach, I will, since you're listening, I will ask. The whole team's traveling with the exception of Zelly. Is the whole team playing except for Zelly?
Well, maybe that's none of our business. Like,
I was just going to say, but if you don't want to answer, I totally understand.
You know? And if you know, then you know. They like to troll. You feel me? And even if they're not trolling, why wouldn't everybody travel? That's just how they are. You feel me?
I think I would have told them flat out. I would have said,
you think BIC not be there?
I would have put it
would
out
they
there.
not
We're
be-
only traveling with 20. That's what I would have done.
That's not something to believe though.
Yeah, I mean, I know, but still.
This is a natty for a team that's trying to, in a sense, regain the throne, and a team who's trying to three-peat and show that it wasn't necessarily hard to do, and that they here for the bad. So
You know,
is different. Like, this is gonna be a fucking crazy game. You
Oh, it
feel me?
is.
It's a big chess match.
You got players on the East Coast who joined up because, in a sense, they knew that they were going to get back to this game here, right? So this is their get back. This is their revenge. You feel me? This is their chance to help these guys regain the throne of some shit that they ain't necessarily been able to take a hold of in a couple of years or seasons.
Since
feel me?
2022.
Okay,
2022.
we're in 25 now. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, this shit is as important to them as it is important to the Insomniacs.
True,
Well,
but
Coach Brown, let me just say this: your active and inactive roster is 100% up to you on what you want to share and what you don't want to share. Because as far as I'm concerned, you know, whatever happens,
I
or
don't
whatever
think that's going to be the
is,
score.
yeah, whatever
I mean,
happens, whatever's said, you know, that's up to you. If you want to share, you can. If you don't want to share, man, don't. I mean, we are not going
Hey,
to put that out there.
You
We're
ain't gotta
just
share
going to let
that
it
shit,
go.
bro. You ain't gotta share that. Yeah, you don't gotta share that. We know it's gonna be a
this
great
is
game. We know it's
this
gonna
is
be
this is a chess
everybody.
match. This is where you need to,
like,
this is where you need to
come
be
on.
playing chess, not checkers.
You think both teams
Exactly.
ain't gonna come prepared? You're fucking crazy. Like, just there shouldn't even be a question about if they're gonna. You feel me?
Three Musketeer.
If-
No, I'm not glazing the BIC. The BIC are going
Right.
to score more than 12 points. You have not watched this team play. Okay, yes, they struggle against Sigurd, playing the fact that they were both playing Iron Man football, but still found a way to beat them by 15 points. Okay? There's a reason why the BIC has been in the championship game 4 of the last 5 seasons. With the
Dude, I can't
exception,
even remember the last time that I saw the BIC score 12 points. Only 12 points. They're not going to score 12 points.
they're not going to score just 12 points.
I'll tell you what, Three Musketeers, nobody's glazing anybody. But I'll tell you what, I'm willing right now, and I'll say it right here, I'll put $100 on the fact that BIC scores more than 12 points. If you want to take me up on that, let's do it. I will put $100 on that right now. And I'm not saying they're winning the game. I'm not saying they're losing the game. I'm saying they score more than 12.
If you watch
the
game,
take me up on that, let's do it.
If you watch the game in person, then how can you honest to God say that the BIC are only going to score 12 points?
How many did they score against Sick?
57. And it had to take all of that 57 because they could not stop Stone King. Stone King, by far, played his best game in his young A7 career because he was slinging that rock. I agree. They're not the same BIC.
I'm not putting you on the show just to make that bet. You can either say yes or no. And
I agree.
You ain't coming on the show just to make a bet.
You had a BIC team that came out here with, we'll just say, less than half of their team. You feel me? And they were able to put up a game with numbers against a team that was fully staffed. You feel me? So if you think in the sense that they're gonna show up fully staffed and only put up 12 points is beyond me. Right? Just to even entertain that shit is crazy. You feel me? We both, when we all know,
your cash out, bro. But the thing about it is, I'll send you mine because you'll be sending me that money after the game. Plain and simple.
Here's the
sit there and say, hold on, let me just say this.
But you gotta know who you're talking to even make the bet happen.
Right?
What you go like? Come on now, like, come on. Let's be real about this shit right now.
Right? He ain't told me his real name. All we see is Three Musketeers, and he's saying it's a bet and lock. Okay, cool. We all seen it. I don't know who you really are. Do you guys know who Three Musketeers is?
No, and I don't really.
Not a clue.
So I mean, that don't mean a damn thing. Give us your real name. You want to send me your Cash App? Send me your Cash App. I'll send you mine. You can pay me the $100. Fact of the matter is, I have a feeling next Thursday or next Wednesday when we're on this show, and BIC has scored more than 12 points, I could tell everybody on here, Three Musketeers didn't own up to it. He didn't send me my $100. It is what it is. I don't expect you to do it, but I'm telling you right now, BIC may not be the same team they were last year, but I can guarantee you they're still going to put up more than 12 points.
All right, nonetheless. All right. Dub.
Yes, sir.
Where you
2-5.
Oh, how you doing?
Day by day, bro. Day by day.
Right?
Which,
Man,
That's all we can do.
Which again, I want to thank you guys for holding down the show as I was grieving last week in California. It is greatly appreciated from Mizzle and myself. So thank you guys again.
Of course, man. All family here, brother. We ain't. There's no, when one of us is down, we're all down. We're gonna pick each other up. That's what we do.
But to quote Knox, saying one of my favorite words, I guess you can say, which maybe I should put that on a shirt. However, nonetheless, it is same teams, same state, same time next year as the Trenton BIC and the Las Vegas Insomniacs once again do battles. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Okay.
All for one for all. But it is
Good
the
to hear.
BIC and the Insomniacs. Of course, last year it came out to a 31-30 Insomniacs win, as of course Dunny Lyons on the 3-on-1 takes it back, and of course Eric Schufer Jr. with the interception off an ill-fated pass from Sterry Codrington was the difference in last year's game. Obviously, the Insomniacs full roster will be playing, but we know for a fact that Anthony Wilkerson will not be playing due to injury, and Zelly will not be there due to a family arrangement. But again, these Pack of Wolves will still be there, full-fledged, full squad, full coaching staff, full-fledged, full squad. And the Trenton BIC trying to win their first championship since 2022. And, of course, the Insomniacs trying to make history not only by tying the Patterson U for most A7 championships with 3, but looking to become the first team to three-peat. But let me ask you, gentlemen, this question from a psychological standpoint. If the Insomniacs were to pull it off and make history and three-peat, and to do it for 2 consecutive years in the heartland of the A7, which is the state of New Jersey, if you are a team that plays in the Northeast, specifically in the Jersey area, what will that do to that team psychologically, seeing that a team from Vegas for 2 straight years, be it in Asbury Park and perhaps in Jackson, New Jersey, basically come there to keep the trophy residency in Las Vegas for a 3rd consecutive season? What do you think that psyche might do to the Northeast teams, if anything?
Go ahead, Chris.
Personally, I don't think it's going to do a damn thing to him. I think that CP3 has said it. He has said it on many occasions.
What's good, bro?
What's going on, brother? My personal opinion is simple, and I'm going to say it this way. Everybody from back east could take it however they want. At this point, I don't care. I've already told them my feelings on them, and that is that we've all now come together. It doesn't matter. But I remember and will always remember the shit I got from being on RTU. And all I could say is 2 years in a row, if they hit that 3rd, I might have to say something. I might have to say a little something and just let it go. But at the same time, psychologically, I don't think it does anything to them. Football's football, man. You play to win, plain and simple. And if you don't win, you regroup and try to come back better the following season. That's all I can say about it. Played this game too long to, let losing the championship game, whether it's 2 or 3 years in a row, really faze me rather than trying to get a better team put together so that way we could win the following season. Knox, your thoughts? And you look like you deep in contemplation there, my brother. What's up?
Oh, I'm gonna say for me, I personally feel like it's already at a point where they didn't necessarily like the first two times, right? So, granted, if right, because it's a big if it does happen for a third, with what is has already been, we'll say, formed to put a stop or put a end into what's been happening. I think that'll be like the final straw of a lot of shit. You feel me? Again, we don't know what they really like got going on out there as far as like how they really care about their division or whatever. They can come on and probably talk about it, right? But just the fact of not being able to hoist that trophy up where it's been for however long this shit's been going on in real life, you know what I mean? Like it's different. It's a different feeling. You feel me? Like who wants to lose something that you've been accustomed to having? You feel me? So it's
Yeah,
like it's I feel like it's gonna do a lot. But like you said, you got a team that's become accustomed to holding that. So why not? If they already got it and they shit, it's probably sitting in somebody's living room right now.
you're probably right.
Collecting dust. Who wants to move it and keep that little dust square right there? You know what I mean? They want what's theirs. They earned it.
I agree, man. Look, bottom
Wasn't
line
given.
is,
It wasn't necessarily given to them. They earned it in both games that were played for that trophy were hard fought games. You feel me?
100%.
Nothing was just given to them. So it's like, granted, it's been a lot of talk of the competition that is held and that we have on the West doesn't necessarily show this and show that. The team itself has been doing what they need to do. You feel me? So whether the competition is what it is, the competition out there has been the same too, and the games have still been close. So it's like it becomes who's able to adjust quicker because you don't normally see these teams or these teams on the day-to-day weekend or whatever. Like it's different. So it's like when you get it in front of you, you like, okay, how can I adjust? How can I, you feel me? And that's what I was gonna ask y'all in the sense of when they first met, none of the players really, we would say, interacted or really knew each other the way that they do now. So do you think because of how they really have grown to, connect with each other with being from different coasts, does it make this game better than the first?
And that is a
Because
good
in a
that is a
sense,
good
you know
question.
your opponent.
That's a good question. But the other side of it is it goes back to what I said and what I asked. Um, I think last weekend when I was talking when we were on with CP3, my question was pretty simple. Do you think BIC is better this year or last year? And he said last year. I said, do you think the Insomniacs are better or worse than they were last year? And he said they are definitely better. So if we were to take that and kind of look at the two teams as a whole, and I know what BIC did last year compared to what they did this year. Now, we can sit here and debate, and they could even come on and say, hey, we were just trying to make it through the season. Okay, I get that. But the question's still out there. And like you already brought up, these teams now know each other, and players now talk to each other from coast to coast. So the question becomes now that they are a known commodity and they know what to expect out of each other. how does that play into this championship game? And I think that's a big question mark. We could sit here and debate 10 ways from Tuesday, and it ain't going to make a damn bit of difference until they actually play. Um, I think that it's one of those situations where if you are to say, give me the best BIC's got, give me the best the Insomniacs got, I've got to look at the depth of the Insomniacs compared to the depth of BIC. And I've got to say, okay.
I'm looking at the styles of play.
I am too. Don't get me wrong.
When I look at BIC.
But what I'm getting at, Knox, and hear me out on this, what I'm getting at is when you start to break down the two squads and you say, okay, if I want to say starters cancel each other out, I know they don't. But what I'm saying is, let's say they do. Then you start to go to backups. Well, now we start talking about Coswell. We start talking about Prime. We start talking about Juice. We start talking about some of these guys that are backup roles for the Insomniacs compared to some of the backup roles I know we see with BIC. And when I go to that second level, I've got to give BIC the upper hand, is what I'm saying. So we know, you and I both know, your starters aren't going to be playing all game. We know backups are going to have to come in. So that's where I give the edge definitely to the Insomniacs, because a lot of their backups would be starters on other squads. And that's what I'm saying when I talk about the difference between the two squads. Your thoughts on that?
If you're going down and you're talking about the second string or however, it don't necessarily matter. And the reason I'm saying that is because if you think about how the Insomniacs run their team, they run systems. So they're able to plug in who they need to be able to run those systems. When you look at the style of play of BIC, they don't necessarily run a system, to me. Now, granted, they have play calling and stuff like that, but that's not necessarily what I mean by a system. But it doesn't take away from them neither, because they do have a few players that can come in and fill in certain spots as well. Now it becomes of, if you match up the two, who's able to adjust quicker? You can put any players together, but it's how they play together. So
I agree.
can those, like, you feel me? Like,
yeah,
it don't matter.
No, and I agree 100% with you. I think that when you break down the two teams, the question mark that I have when they're talking about some of the guys that are going to be playing, let's say Dave Valley does come back, right? I don't know if he's going to play. I have no idea.
Yeah, but you put Dave Valley with the other big dude that they then had out there with K-Wack. That's a solid line right there.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying it isn't. What I'm saying is, when you haven't played, now you and I both know we played this game for a long time. You and I both know that when you get guys back off of injury, a lot of times it takes a little bit for them to get back into the groove, and you're not always on the same page.
I don't agree, because I've done that. I've come back from injury, torn meniscus, torn Achilles, and when I came back, I was still busting ass. I haven't played football in so fucking long, but I feel like if I play A7 or flag, with me not playing in months, right? The second I get on the field, I'm gonna bust ass.
I don't disagree with that. What I'm saying
but that's what I'm saying. Even if you feel like because Dave Valley hasn't played, he's still a player. He's still in the sense of baller. That's the same with. You can say that for anybody that you would want to say for the Insomniacs. You feel me? Granted, they haven't had anybody that hasn't. Okay, let's take Cunningham. Cunningham really wasn't there and hadn't been there. But when he does come out, and when he come out, you don't know that he hasn't been there. He still does what he does, even you feel me?
No, I agree with you. What I'm saying is not necessarily always on the side of being on the same page with a player. What I'm also talking about is I have no idea what Dave Valley's injury was that kept him out this full year. I have no idea. Do you?
Nah.
So do we know that he's 100%? Or is he coming out to play at 75 and possibly could wind up getting injured again and being right back out of the game? We don't know.
If
That's
if Scooter has a slip disc and he's still going, it's the same thing.
exactly. I agree
Right.
100%.
So that's what I'm saying. Like both sides of it, like it's the same shit.
It is. And what I'm saying is that again, I'm not knocking
But
either team.
if so, right? If he's still gonna show up, he's gonna at least attempt to do what he do, and I'm pretty sure he will. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I said, you gotta adjust and you gotta prepare.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't played A7 doesn't mean he necessarily hasn't been at physical therapy and shit, strengthening up his shit, working out on his own, you feel me, doing whatever. People don't have to fucking work out and do all that shit just to be able to compete. That's these young ass people that's doing that shit, feeling like they gotta train and go run 1,000,000 miles and hit the ladders, and we're not. A lot of us older, we're not doing that shit, but we're still gonna pull up and do other. You know what I'm saying? Because we're doing other shit to prepare to still be able to show up and ball.
Yeah. Agree. All I'm saying is all I'm trying to get at is last year when we were talking about this matchup, one of the things that I got my ass blasted for was I said that I think that the refs are going to apply themselves a little bit, and we're going to see some calls that are made that could change potentially change the game. And guess what happened? Even though there's people on the show and people that were totally disagreeing with me. Oh, that ain't gonna happen. That's not what's. Look, it happens. So all I'm saying is, with the situation of injuries, we don't know what we don't know. Period. And so we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who's going to play. We got to see what happens on Sunday.
But we know it's gonna be a great fucking game.
Exactly.
I know that much. It's gonna be a great fucking game.
Without a shadow.
Great game. I think it's gonna be two teams that show up ready to really compete. You feel me? Ready to really.
And two teams that are hungry for a win.
Yeah, straight up. Like who wants to lose? Like Dub said earlier, it's the most important game of the year. Who wants to take that L or put that one within their record? Of course, BIC doesn't want to do it. You feel me? Because of the season that they had prior, as well as the season that they've been having, and whatever personal shit comes along with that. And the same thing with Insomniacs. They've already been in the position that they're in. They've taken over in a sense and made the league even more competitive, even from afar. You feel me? Is making teams really have to really play for something. So it's like it's gonna be some great football, man. Like don't matter who shows up, but both teams are gonna show up fully strength and ready to play.
Oh, 100%. And to answer Trey, I don't think that hitting Scooter is going to do anything to him. I mean, I didn't see any difference out of Scooter after getting sacked a couple of times by the Animals. I didn't see him get gun shy. I didn't see him not try to throw the ball up. I just saw him doing the exact same thing he's done all season.
I didn't see him really suffering after any hits, except for when I want to say maybe his hand got ran into, or I think his hand got ran into, or some shit like that, or he was pissed off that he even got hit. You feel me? Again, that's some shit that the O-line is definitely going to take into consideration and do what it is that they got to do to protect him, as well as he knows. And you should know too, as a quarterback, right? Y'all motherfuckers don't like to get hit. So when you don't like to get hit, you're gonna do what you got to do.
Now, are you saying
You
he didn't
have
play in
to.
the fourth quarter after getting
He
hurt
fucked his hand
last
up.
season? Or are you talking about in the playoff game? Which one are you talking about, Trey? Because last year when he got hurt, he played in the fourth quarter. He just stopped playing at quarterback and was playing as a blocker. So, I mean, let me know.
I mean, either way, he's still gonna scooter. And if he got his guys around him, of course, when you got your guys around you feel like you can really do anything. So,
Look, if
doesn't
you're
matter.
talking about the playoff game, and if you're talking about him not playing at the end of the fourth quarter, he pulled himself out of the game because his thing is, we're up by as many as we are. Why am I still playing? And James actually told him, go sit down. So,
Yeah, why wouldn't he though?
well, I mean, he already got he got the 8 touchdowns, which was a record, and that's all he was going back in for. But I mean, why are you going to continue to play against the Animals when you're up that much? It was 60-24 at the time. Okay, maybe 54-24 at the time. What's the point on continuing to play? I mean, it just, to me, it doesn't always make sense. So, I mean, I don't see the fact of him taking him, he coming out of the game and saying, you know what, I'm done. I mean, what's the point of continuing to play? I mean, you're just risking injury. I'm not saying he would have got hurt. I'm not saying he did get hurt. All I'm saying is you're risking injury. When you're up by that much, why are you still in the game? Why? I mean, Insomniacs started putting in their second and third string players at that time. Why would you have your starting quarterback still in the game against the Animals when you're up by that much?
Man, they've been running the same shit all season. That's not the
Yep.
first fourth quarter that he didn't play in.
Nope.
Go back and watch a couple different games. There's a few games where he gets out. You feel me? Again, why risk it? And or if you were feeling some type of way after getting hit, plus the heat, why the fuck not go sit the hell down? You feel me? Why finish the game and risk even more dehydration or even, like you said, injuries and shit like that? They don't necessarily make sense. You feel me? Either way, speaking on the game, that's just gonna make him not want to get hit.
And look, man, we can second guess anybody over anything. I was on the sidelines versus the Animals. I was sitting there listening and watching what was going on with the Insomniacs. I didn't stay on the sidelines the whole time. I can't sit here and give you a full breakdown of what was going on the sidelines. What I can tell you is when the Animals were still close, the guys were having the discussion about not playing around anymore and showing, just going out there and playing football. And that's what they did coming into the second half of the game. And look what the outcome was. That's all I can say. Outcomes tell you everything you need to know about a team and a game. If it was a close game, we might be having a different conversation. It wasn't close in the second half. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Well, with that said, obviously, these are two teams that know each other. They met last season in the championship game, of course, won by the Insomniacs on the Dining Lions, third return, and reception by Munchie at the end for a touchdown. There's a lot of matchups that we can look at. Obviously, the matchup again last year, which really told the tale of the game, was Ashanti Worthy against Dining Lions, to where Ashanti Worthy was hardly a factor at all in last year's game. What do we expect in that matchup a year later with these two fine specimens harnessing their crafts at their respective positions?
Well, you know what? I think that is a matchup worth watching. I think that there's more than a few matchups worth watching. I think that it's going to be, very interesting because last year's game, Trey just said it actually before I could get it out that it ended by a point. I don't know what to expect. I mean, I'll tell you what I don't expect is 46-12. I don't expect that at all. I expect this game to be in the 40s, and I will reserve my score prediction until we are ready to call this. But I'm just telling you, I think that this is going to be one of those games where we could have, I think this game specifically, we could have one team that is up. Derek gave me shit because we can't score 3 points, so I can't say by 10. So I think we could see a 12-point differential in this game. I'm saying we could. I'm not saying we will. I'm saying we could see a 12-point differential in this game at any given point. We'll see what happens. I think that both of these teams are explosive. Both these teams could play defense. But what it comes down to is, we know what we saw with BIC versus Sick. If Sick could have made a couple of stops, it would have made the game a lot more interesting. I'm not saying,
but understand that was a fully staffed Sick team versus a half staffed BIC.
I agree.
They couldn't stop. And
Agreed.
they couldn't stop Trey. And they couldn't stop Trey. They couldn't stop Trey on third down because how many?
They couldn't tackle him.
Nope.
Again,
Not at all.
That was a half staffed BIC versus a fully staffed Sick.
But my question mark is, we could 2-5. I agree with you 100%. My question mark is, what would we be saying sitting here right now had Sick won?
Again, I'm gonna say the same shit personally. Whether they won or they didn't win, they won and they beat a half-staffed BIC.
Okay.
Because that would have been everybody's argument, right? You want to see teams match up against each other fully staffed at their best potential because you don't want to hear no bullshit-ass excuses of 100%. A person saying or anybody saying that it wasn't the full team.
But would we have been hearing exactly that from all the BIC players?
No, you're not going to hear that from the players that didn't make it. You feel me?
Yeah.
The players that didn't make it are gonna say that they weren't fully staffed. You know what I'm saying? Which is cool. I'm just saying on a competitive level, yeah. And it was the main guys, right? We'll say it was a majority of the main guys. But so again, if they had those subs or they had those secondary people that could come in to give those starters a real break, would it have been a different game? We don't know, right? That's another what if. You feel me? So it's like, granted, it was a great game, and the competition even showed what they were capable of doing and being able to play against, again, those top tier or top names that come from the East. Yeah, it showed a lot. You feel me? But when you play a team that doesn't have depth, you know what I'm saying? It's like.
Well, so do we know if the Animals traveled with the majority of their team? We know Diaz wasn't there. We know that. So that's one. But do we know if the Animals traveled with their full squad?
I don't know. But
I don't think they did.
That ain't, if you look at I don't think they, you know what I'm saying? I don't think they did neither. Would it have made for a different game? I don't think so, because I've always said, in a sense, again, even with the Animals too, they don't necessarily run a system. It's a lot of broken plays where Tender's running for his life and he seems to catch an open man.
And I can't disagree with you. There's a couple of times where
I've been said that. Again, that's not a knock to him. But again, what if he had a solid ass O-line? What if he had, and that's where I think I did see that post where he said, in a sense, like he's already in the lab and doing what he got to do to prepare for next season, right? So he's already been able to see the competition from over there, see the competition from over here, and knows what he got to do. He know he could beat them out there. In a sense, it's just they got cheated. They got cheated for
so basically, what it sounds like you're saying is basically the teams that have structure and are more prepared normally seem to fare well.
Yeah.
Dub, I see where you're going with that, and I'm just going to leave it alone.
Well, I mean, I'll say it like this. Basically, the one game that this particular group of Insomniacs that we've seen the last now going on 3 seasons, the only game that they lost, literally, Sick had to play, in a sense, to make a baseball analogy. They had to really pitch a perfect game, and still, even with that, they only won by 6 points. So, as I said a couple weeks ago, I said Sick had to play a perfect game to beat the BIC, even if the BIC was traveling with not their main rosters. And again, that one critical error that was made at the start of the second half, if that does not happen, who knows what we're talking about right here and there. But it happened. BIC took advantage, and here we are, same 2 teams, same day, same state, next
But I
year.
mean, Dub, if you want to look at that, then you could also look at and say the 2 drop picks also cost Sickler.
Absolutely. Again, you as the old cliche in baseball goes, you can't give the good teams extra outs. In football, you cannot give the good teams an extra down because 9 times out of 10 they will hit you and hurt you, and a lot of times it's on the very next play.
Would agree. But
Or if they would have
considering
been able
we're
to
at
tackle Trey a little bit more.
we got 13 minutes until the top of the hour. So one of the things that we got to do is, much as it pains me, we've got to call these games and give our predictions with scores.
All right, go ahead.
So I'm holding myself
We
to
have
it,
to what?
just like I'm holding you guys
We have
to
to
it.
what? Say that again.
We've got to give our predictions for the championship game with scores. We can't just say who's going to win. Yeah, no, it's bugging me too. But if I don't say it and don't hold myself and you guys to it, then we all know how that goes.
All right, what you got, Chris?
I was actually going to let Dub go first. I'm the old man of the group. I get to go last.
Oh, now he wants to claim seniority all of a sudden.
Hell yeah!
I'm gonna let him go last because he's gonna have a whole speech and spiel before he actually gets.
I ain't gonna have a whole speech and spiel. I'm just gonna tell you my thoughts. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, well,
Score and to why.
Okay, well,
that's it.
Well, first off, before I say anything, first off, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, as I've said time and time again, it's hard for me to go against Derry, but as I've said many times, I'm not going against these Pack of Wolves we see because I have seen too much. 2 years, this team has been down double digits in the championship game. 2 years, they've made the right adjustments. 2 years, they have walked away with the championship. I don't expect anything less. I expect more of the same. I definitely do not think it's going to be a blowout. If it's blowout, it's because something drastically happened or a quarterback is just having a very crappy day throwing the football. Last year, the game was decided by 1 point, and that one extra championship point that the Insomniacs scored proved to be the difference. I will say it like this. I do like the Insomniacs scoring 46, but I think the score is going to be 46-40 Insomniacs, and history is made.
Dude, I should have wrote it down because, never mind. Go ahead.
No, that's my score, 46-40.
No. I'm just saying I should have wrote it down or put it in the notes so you guys could have seen my prediction.
All right, 2-5, what you got?
You got seniority and seniorness over there, and you ain't got a notepad and a pencil by you?
No, that wasn't it. What I'm saying is when I say my score, you ain't going to believe me. You're going to think I just piggybacked off a Dub. What I'm saying is I should have put it in the post on the notes so that way it would have came up and you guys would have seen it.
Oh, okay. Well, we know your score. Me, I think it's gonna be a great game with I personally I think some other shit's gonna happen, because if that doesn't happen, I don't necessarily see them scoring too many points. So, like, I don't see them scoring up to 40. So I'm gonna say if they stick with what they stick with, I'm gonna give it 38-24.
Oh,
Respectable.
so I'm going with a 14-point victory.
So before I say mine, I just got a question because I can't remember. Anybody remember the final score of Sick and Insomniacs?
56-50.
Of Sick with it against the Insomniacs earlier this season?
Okay, are you talking about from this year? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I want to say it was 48-18, but don't hold me to that.
That sounds about right. So, Knox kind of made me rethink this because I was with you. I thought I was going to say 46-40, and that's why I said you guys won't believe me unless I would have wrote it down. But I also think that there are some things going on. We'll see what happens. My final score is I'm going to say the Insomniacs score 46, but I'm going to say that it's going to be 46-36. I think it's going to be a 10-point differential. Even though I've already been told time and time again, well, 10 points. Well, 36 and 46 is possible. So I think it's going to be 36-46.
Well, the BIC coming in at 9-0. The Insomniacs coming in at 8-0. Somebody's oath will go after June the 22nd. Again, it is the championship game of the American Sevens Football League, the 11th one. The Insomniacs the last 2 seasons have been on the top of the mountain, looking to do something that not even an NFL team has done, which is win 3 consecutive Super Bowls. The Insomniacs are going to win their 3rd consecutive national title, and not only put themselves right up there with the Patterson for most titles in A7 history, but to stand alone as the only team to win 3 straight. Now, Chris, to answer your question, if you will, the actual score of when they played was indeed 48-18.
Okay, so you were correct.
I don't know. I was Johnny spot on, but yes.
Well, I just think it's, bottom line, man, when I have to break down these two teams and look at what they've got, I've got to look at weapons. I've got to look at offensive line, defensive line. And the bigger thing that everybody's got to look at, I don't care who it is, you've also got to look at backups, because as much as you want to say your starters are going to stay in and play all game, everybody on this panel knows that ain't true. Eventually, your backups are going to have to play. The problem that I have with, and that I said earlier, the Insomniacs backups will be starters on a lot of teams. Same with BIC. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying they don't have starter caliber backups. What I'm saying is this game is going to be, I think, will be, and Dub, you were on the show with me last year when we were talking about the championship game. And I said I thought that there was going to be some calls, maybe even questionable calls, that were going to impact the championship game last year. And you can say I'm wrong, but I remember watching that game and seeing some calls that impacted that game last year. What I'm getting at with this game is I think that we are also going to be looking at players that are not starters.
I think they're going to let them play. I think they're going to
let them play too. But what I'm saying is, I think
75 yards, they're going to have to let them play.
Players that are going to impact this game, and I think it's going to happen on both sides. I don't think it's just going to be about the starters in this game.
Well, here's an interesting note about the Insomniacs this season. Their least amount of points scored in a single game this year, only a measly 43 points. That's their season low. So
Now, me
just,
personally, I went off of the score from last year's game.
and I get that. I totally get that.
Because that was, yeah, you got them playing against teams out here, of course, right? It's different. They've already become accustomed to, playing them. So when you put them up against another fully staffed team, I feel like it's gonna take some adjusting for either side.
But
I
I
agree with
will
that.
say, this game does have the tendency to possibly be high scoring because, again, you're playing in air conditions. You don't have to worry about the fatigue of humidity and
Yeah, that shit
And a
makes sense.
shortened field.
and you don't. So we'll see. But
I feel like
definitely
shorter
looking
field
forward
makes
to
for
it.
quicker release for the quarterback.
And I think the shortened field is gonna have a bigger impact than most people think. I think that is going to have an impact that we are not thinking about right now, but we'll
But
see play
however,
out during the game.
we'd like to thank everyone that has chimed in and has commented on this upcoming game. Again, like I said, we look forward to seeing it, as perhaps this really is Matt Ryan's final swan song of A7FL broadcast, as he and Mr. Hammond will bring you the insights. Who knows? There might be another watch along with myself, JP, Mizzle, Knox, Chris, as it was last year. You never know. Just keep things tuned in to the other side of the ball network and other listings in your area. But 425 and for Chris Beer, and for, well, actually, we got 2 minutes. Final thoughts, real quick.
Knox, you want to go first?
Shit, I'll go further. Yeah, check it out. I feel like it's gonna be a fire ass game. I'm excited to watch it. I feel like both teams are definitely gonna come out and ready to compete. I feel like it's gonna be some big hits, some big plays, a lot of shit talking, and just overall a great experience. I'm excited for it, and yeah, I feel like it's gonna make for a great 2025 national championship motherfucking game.
Man, hard to follow that. I will say that I agree with 99.9% of what Knox just said. I think that it is going to be a great game. I think that these guys are going to be playing to represent their cities. The interesting piece that I will say is I think that as much of a chip that BIC will have on their shoulder going into this game, I think the Insomniacs will match that chip because they know what they're up against and what they are going to be playing. And since Will Franklin wants to come in the last second as usual and say he don't have either team winning, yeah, okay, Will, thanks. I think that there is a chance that we will see a few things we probably have not seen all season from both teams. I think that they're going to try to pull out some little surprises that we are not expecting. So, yeah, I think this is going to be a fantastic game. And I think that if you are dumb enough not to watch, you're going to miss a hell of a game. And if you're smart enough to watch, all I can say is get your popcorn ready.
As they often say, big time players make big time plays in big time games. And it is championship games where David Clark and Eric Schufer Jr. have shined on the biggest stage. In 2 career championship games, David Clark has scored 4 touchdowns. In 2 career championship games, Eric Schubert has scored 3. Now, the last time it was the new blood that led the way for the Insomniacs to get back to the title game. But in this case, I think it would be some of the old guard that will help get them to the finish line and run through the tape. That's just something to check and look out for as we commence to the game on June the 22nd on A7FL.TV. But again, from all of us here at Ace NFL and Ace NFL Nevada, for Live at 25, for Chris Vera, and for the rest of the crew, we say thank you for watching. Enjoy the championship game. We'll be back to celebrate episode 140. Will the three-peat happen, or will the BIC remain on top? We'll talk about it next week and dissect the title game. Again, coming to you live from Jackson, New Jersey. Again, throw-off time is scheduled for 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on AceNFL.TV with Matt Ryan and Corey Hammond on the call. But from all of us here, from the other side of the ball, saying thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week as we crown another champion, and we'll talk about it on the other side of the ball. Good night, everybody.
Yeah.